Bem-vindos ao nosso podcast de Two Crazy Scoops com seus anfitriões, Erau e Antônio. Esta semana temos visitante especial, Daniel Rojo. Vamos falar de as conspirações sobre Pancho Villa e muito mais. Desfrutem. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Two Crazy Scoops podcast with your hosts, Ao and Antino. We have our guest here, Daniel. How you feeling, Daniel?
I'm feeling better. I was sick, and I think I'm almost cured.
Nice.
Well, we're glad you're doing better.
Yeah. Glad we didn't have to wheel you in here.
Exactly.
I would have came.
So take 1 minute and just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? And why are you?
And why are you here?
And why are you
Okay,
here?
I consider myself a native to Tucson.
Okay.
And I like it here. I haven't traveled that much, but I like the feel and the sunsets and the fact that it's a city. I mean, it's growing, but it's nowhere near the size of, the major cities of the country, and it's a little less activity. For me, is less stress in the sense of like traffic and noise. So I like it here. So
awesome.
That's something important about me, I think.
Cool. Hey, we're starting something new this week. You're our first victim.
Oh,
And
okay,
Guinea pig.
exactly.
that's fine.
And we're just gonna do some quick icebreaker questions just to kind of
Sounds
get
good.
you a little bit, relaxed and comfortable, so you can, we can continue with the podcast. But let's start with the first icebreaker question for you. You look like you're a little nervous. Don't be scared.
If you spontaneously combusted.
So the first question is, what is one article of clothing that someone could wear that would make you walk out on a date with them?
As in, like, leave the date.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, he's married. So
Yeah, he's married, but this is all hypothetical.
Wow.
it's like,
He
I'd
would
like to
never
start off-
leave
No,
his wife
I
on a
can base
date.
it on my past.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Your past.
Oh, man, we already lost, dude.
One article of clothing. I don't know if I would. Wow. I don't want. I'm just afraid that my answer is gonna be.
No, don't worry.
It's like
Push come to shove, we can always edit it out later.
Or keep
Yeah,
it in
I don't
and
think
never
you guys
tell
would do that. Good taste. If somebody has bad taste and they're just, some people are too flashy, whether that means with their clothes or with parts of their body, and that's something that was always like to me just a no immediately, just an X right there. That's it.
Got you.
So nothing in particular, one piece of clothing, but in general, yeah. So
Okay.
that would be my answer.
Okay. All right. Cool. Got you. All right.
Okay.
Next question.
Huh?
If you were a wrestler, what would be your interest theme song?
Man. I'm trying to think.
You do listen to a lot of different kinds of music.
Yeah, I think it would be it's a Spanish rock song by Los Enanitos Verdes called I just like the rhythm of the song and the beat. It kind of pumps me
Okay.
up. It's called Mejor No Hablemos de Amor.
Okay.
It's cool. It just starts
We'll
with
find
an
it and
electric guitar.
we'll find it and play a quick clip.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, no.
Hopefully we don't get
We'll play a
copyright.
cover of it.
Oh yeah,
No,
so you're
no,
right.
no.
The cover, a
Cover
cover,
of it.
so we
Front
don't get
cover.
so we don't get any.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
how?
All right.
Okay. Go ahead.
If you could bring back any fashion trend, what would it be?
Man, these are difficult questions. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if
Well, you're not that old, so you haven't been through a lot of fashion trends.
that's
I want to
true.
bring back baggy pants from the 90s.
Those
No.
never went away.
No.
All right. If you had your own late night talk show, who would you invite as your first guest?
And it better be Aaron.
If I had, would this be someone famous or could it be just anybody?
Anybody.
Dead or alive.
As my first
But if they're
guess-
dead, they can't talk. You're just gonna wheel some coffin in.
Oh,
Okay.
Goodness.
And as my first guess,
Wow. Wow.
Hey. You know what? For the sake of it being, I would bring in somebody that's scandalous.
Scandalous?
Somebody that's infamous.
So you can get ratings.
Bernie
Just to get
Madoff.
people, yeah. And I'll ask them questions to just
so how does
Just
it
to
feel
get
to
it
rip
started.
off millions of people? Oh, it actually felt pretty good until I got caught, and then
Right.
it felt better because at least I'm getting more money from the recognition.
Exactly.
or maybe somebody that's been that's infamous, but maybe unfairly or unjustly infamous. Maybe
Okay.
they've been accused, or at least they claim to be accused
The lightsaber kid.
without reason.
Yeah, right.
Or I would, somebody that has energy as well. That would I can't think of any somebody in particular, but that would be the characteristics of who I would.
Someone who got accused of something. Maybe.
So either somebody infamous or somebody that has super high energy that'll keep the show alive,
Got you.
So not a dead person.
or somebody very hated too.
Oh, wow.
Well, just because people.
I so badly
People
want to
like
say
With your
names. But
first
I'm
guest,
I
Antonio.
know, right? Exactly. All right, and last icebreaker question is: if a movie was made of your life, what genre would it be, and who would play you?
Sad comedy like that's sad.
Okay, and who
But,
would play you?
Ooh, I would like Jack Black or Jim Carrey.
Okay.
Jim Carrey. How you doing there, buddy?
That's what I have at the top of my head right now.
All right. You want to do another one, or is that
Well, you
it?
have the last one on there. It says, if you had to eat one meal every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
That's difficult.
What about barbecue,
I feel that anything too sweet,
tacos?
Oh, yeah, that'd ruin it
it
over.
would.
I think tacos would be a good meal.
Something that's kind of bland, though, because if you eat something that tastes really good at first, then after you repeat that same flavor
Yes.
over and over again, it's just like
it's as rich as it can be. It will be just.
poor.
It would. Yeah. Eventually, you'll probably be disgusted by it more. Maybe rice. Just rice or beans. That's it. I go back to my roots.
The thing is, though, is like, can you add stuff to it? Because that's technically a lot of Mexican dishes is like one base thing, and then you add different flavors to it. So, what are we talking about here, Aaron?
I don't know.
Oh,
I didn't write these questions.
like, can we like have one thing
You
and then
can do
prepare
whatever.
it different ways, or you have to eat?
No,
like,
I think it
raw
has to be.
meat?
I
Well,
think
it
the
just said
question is
one meal.
one meal. What I would say it has to be defined.
Yeah.
As specific.
You can say rice with salt, pepper, and whatever else you throw in.
Whatever.
Whatever you throw in rice.
Some variation of rice, because rice you
And
could
Red rice.
Sazon.
you can make it like you could eat it as rice. It has a different texture. Okay, you could soak it extra and it'll be mushy. But I guess or you could leave it kind of dry.
You can burn
or
it.
you could toast it.
Yeah.
and it'll add slightly something different.
Like if they burn it at
And,
the bottom, and then the
yeah.
rest of it's like
Yeah,
kind of made like
So,
that.
yeah. I think that it would be rice, and I wouldn't be annoyed by it.
Huh. Interesting.
Okay.
If we get quiet, it's because Aaron's fiddling about while we're talking.
Sorry.
He's a fiddler.
He's a
I
fiddler.
can't sit still.
Where's your roof? Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, now we're gonna get into the real meat.
Oh no.
Speaking of meal preparation. So, when was the first time you used a blender? Oh, geez. Topics. We brought you on the podcast, Dave,
Okay.
Daniel, here because, again, I've known you for quite some time now.
Okay.
Something I've always enjoyed talking to you about is conspiracies. I can't really say I've always enjoyed talking about it, but it does seem to be a topic.
Yeah, I think we just somehow end up there
Somehow end up there.
in a bad place.
So what do you think the real the draw is for conspiracies then? Or what are some of what you think is like popular ones? No, maybe. Oh, okay, Aaron.
No. Oh, no.
No, you were looking at it.
Well, you were looking at me, so I was like, okay.
I'm going to close my eyes now.
Okay.
Okay.
Gonna count
So
to 10.
I think that I'm not going to talk perhaps of anything in particular, but the reason, from what I've kind of
The lizard people. We're going to talk about the lizard people, Daniel.
so what the lizard people want you to believe is they want you to believe all these conspiracies except that one.
Oh.
Because it draws attention away from them. But no, some conspiracies have some truth, in my opinion, have some truth to them. The reason that I believe, I heard this argument about conspiracy theories, and I believe it to a certain extent, is that everybody wants to be different to a certain extent. So if they believe in a conspiracy, it kind of does make them different, right? They're not the mainstream of people.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that the mainstream of people believe in conspiracies.
Yeah.
There's different types. I guess they're all. Another thing is that some way somebody was wronged, and people could kind of, they could point the finger at someone many times.
Yeah, because
And we as humans, we just like to do that.
like filling in the blanks.
Yeah, exactly. When something just lots of times it happens with tragedies and things like that, and it's hard for people to accept the apparent truth.
Yeah,
because I believe that some of them do have some hint of fact into them as well. But yeah, I think the funny thing is that a lot of people believe them. Doesn't really make you special. It makes you almost as anybody else. It's the irony.
Yeah, I just thought it's interesting because even recently now, with all the media and everything, they're just kind of going over past conspiracies and trying to figure out why everything's happening the way it is. But yeah, like you were saying, you got to blame somebody. So,
And sometimes it's just a way to cope, even if you know it's not true.
yeah.
You're like, it's just a way to get some weight off of you.
So we just wanted to use this podcast right now to start a conspiracy.
So I have one.
Oh, go.
No.
All right, Aaron.
No,
go.
I'm just kidding.
I believe it already.
No, but I think one of the things with conspiracies now is that with the spread of social media, internet, theories that maybe weren't necessarily so widespread, but maybe were kept within certain communities can now spread. So it's interesting. It's just an interesting time.
Yeah.
Because they can spread pretty easily. But one thing I will say, though, is that, first of all, if you break down what a conspiracy is, to conspire, all it means is to make plans secretly. So, for example, me and you can conspire to surprise somebody with something. Conspire is just meaning we're making the plans, right?
Sure.
A conspiracy theory is people trying to figure out who conspired to make something happen. But the way the media is set up, a conspiracy theory has a bad connotation. So anytime the media want to dismiss something, they'll just call it a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
When it may or may not be,
True.
So that's what makes it
time
interesting.
that they found a finger in the Wendy's chili. You remember that?
I don't remember that, but I'm sure someone
They found a
conspired.
Anyways, we can move on.
Just
to
a
the next
finger.
topic. You don't remember that?
You know, but you brought it up, so
Are we sponsored
I want to
by
know.
them?
So who conspired to put that finger in the Wendy's
I don't
chili?
know. I don't know if it was a real finger or what happened, but supposedly someone found it in their chili, and it ended up that they put it in the chili when they ordered it. So
that's a conspiracy.
yeah,
Now the theory would be who put it in there. That's the theory.
that's what we always call Wendy's finger food.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
This is a true story, though. Despite the joke, it's a. You look it up on the internet.
I will.
It was a long time ago. I mean, I was a kid, and we used to eat at Wendy's all the time, and I was like, no way.
Did they take a picture of the?
Yeah. Oh,
The
I don't
finger?
know.
I don't know. Oh,
It's like a garnish.
going back to the topic though, I think there's a lot of a lot of conspiracies that we don't even know of, because some people are very crafty and they're very intelligent.
Oh,
Well, that's the thing
and the good ones,
they don't get.
people don't.
Yeah.
They could be right under their nose. They don't even know.
The reality of the situation is there's a lot of things going on that there is no attention to, and every day, like, you wonder, why are you paying for this or that or something? Just weird things like that, and then you realize that those are more of distractions than anything.
Yeah.
So it is make for good entertainment. I think it's just some people kind of take it a little too far.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, I believe that there's some degree of truth to something. Either perhaps it's just, maybe it's incomplete information, or kind of conjectured or put together. But there's usually at least a hint of truth, or sometimes the motives behind behind certain events are the motives that certain people have are attributed to an event, right? Like it could be easily paired, even if it wasn't necessarily related.
Yeah,
there's examples of that. I mean, just with one of the like 9/11, there's a bunch of those, like that the guy had some insurance policy on it, or he had just gotten an insurance policy on the building, and there's a bunch of ways, like, okay, that would be convenient to blow up the place.
Yeah.
So without getting into much detail about that, just as an example of how motives or how some things happen, and it's easy to put them together. And who knows if that's even true, Yeah. Antonio just wants to come out with a bunch more.
No, it's just funny because, like, I can hear your gestures.
Wow. Okay, that's good. I consider that a good thing.
You're our first very gesturing guest. What?
Okay.
Okay, Aaron's doing something in the background again.
Just ignore me.
Oh, sorry.
Just ignore me.
Don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Exactly.
God
So anyway,
all right.
Back to the topic.
So
let's talk about conspiracies with Pancho Villa.
Oh, okay. That's good. Now, okay.
Getting to the meat.
Yes. Wait.
Let's just start back.
Okay.
For people who are no idea about this topic.
Okay. So, I became very interested within the last year or two, in the Mexican Revolution, and one of the reasons that was because I have family roots, direct roots in that era, that time period where my family comes from. It was a very important area to the Mexican Revolution. Pancho Villa is kind of a iconic character for Mexico. He was vilified. He was basically, and if I could sum it up, he was basically a criminal that later had political inclinations and was able to do something about that. So he went from criminal to political figure to even president. And that was because he was connected to the people. And he was kind of like a Robin Hood. He would steal, the legends say, or what people, he would take away from the rich and give to the poor. Sometimes he would take away from the rich, sometimes just for his campaign, mostly. Lots of his supporters were poor. And during that time in Mexico, it was kind of like very extreme. Either you were rich and everybody was your laborer, your worker, or you were poor and you had no way. Like it was basically slavery. Just the system, it was rigged back then. There was no way out. You were going to be poor forever. Absolutely. So that's why people just said, you know what? And this is recorded, like this isn't a life. I'd rather die. So they fought to overthrow the current government. When the current government, what they were trying to do, they were trying to industrialize the country to make investors come in. So, if your country is company friendly, industry friendly, your workers don't have that many rights, so you could just make a profit. So that led to foreign investment. And but eventually the people got tired of it. They got tired of it. There was a point that like 90% of the country was owned by foreigners, and so they were oppressed. So then Pancho Villa comes out he's like, let's fight. Yeah, basically. There was a lot of other generals around that time. The Mexican Revolution wasn't just something that it led by one person. During that time, the country was split into many pieces. Sometimes they fought together. Sometimes they fought against each other. But most of the time, they fought against the government, the current government. But Pancho Villa, what could I say about him? He killed people in my family. And also some people on my other side of my family worked for him. My great grandma just passed away, and her grandfather worked for him. It's an interesting story because he was always and again, lots of this is just oral history. But when he was a little kid, he would steal and stuff because his family was poor. And he got to the point that he was kicked out of the town that he lived in, because he was older already. So they wanted him to be accountable at that point. If he's a little kid, okay, well, he's a kid. Let his mom, discipline him. But once he got older, they essentially, he had to run away because they were going to prosecute him because he was actually robbing. He was doing like robberies or stealing, and so my great grandma's grandfather was a neighbor, and I actually I was able to look up documents and found out that they were born in the same town. So he was older than him, but he felt bad for him because to him he was just a kid. So he went to the mountains, to a mountainous area, Pancho Villa, to run away, to avoid justice. In my, I'm just gonna call my great grandfather. He went and would take him food. Later, as the years passed, Pancho Villa joined basically a band of bandits. The leader eventually was arrested or killed, and he took the lead. Then later, the current president said, you know what? You have a lot of connections with people. You could turn a lot of people. You could turn this into a movement.
Kind of like our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So Pancho Villa had a podcast. No. So eventually people just joined him and they fought against the government. My great grandfather, he didn't fight. He was older, but he helped he kind of took care of the family. I don't know to what degree. I don't think he was very high ranking because he wasn't educated, although Pancho Villa wasn't educated as well. But I think from what I understand, he trusted him with his family. And although he had several families, but with his original family, they would move from town to town. My family is from further south, but they ended up further north because of all of this.
So at what point did they cut Pancho Villa's brain out?
Oh, man. I don't remember. But, his head was missing, like, later. They buried him, and later somebody went... It was the U.S. government wanted to study him. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was very abrupt, too.
Yeah.
I was enjoying the story about him, and then you're like, his head is missing. I'm like, okay, wow.
Neither the Mexican government or the American government could take him down. He was just it was hard. He was very clever. He knew the deserts. He knew the mountains, like the way that no one did. U.S. invaded Mexico, all looking for him. The first airplane mission was to get Pancho Villa. They all crashed and died because there was no place to land. Yeah, now it seems obvious, but the first mission that they did for airplanes, using airplanes, was to get Pancho Villa. And I learned that several years ago, and then I continued to see that later. And the U.S. invaded Mexico with no permission, but Mexico let them because they wanted him to die. But they couldn't get him because the people didn't want. It's like they felt invaded. They felt violated by American presence. So some kids. This is kind of on a tangent, but some kids killed some soldiers. They killed some little kids threw rocks at some soldiers, but they couldn't shoot back at the kids because the whole city would, you know,
Go
crazy and take them out. But that's pretty insane. But the whole Pancho Villa thing, how I said it comes back to how that the reason that we eventually moved to a different part of Mexico was because of that, from what I understand. Another thing is that on my dad's side of the family and on my grandma's, my dad's mother, her great uncle was killed by Pancho Villa. He was rich. He would just go and say, hey, I need money. He would just go to little towns. Who has money? He had given him money before. He came around again. He said, you know what? I don't have money this time. He's like, okay. All right. He told his soldiers, just burn this guy. Burn him alive. And the wife, I mean, she went inside, ran and got like a bowl full of gold and stuff. Because back then, if you were rich, you were rich. Mm-hmm. And they had a bunch of gold and stuff hidden, gold and silver. She brought it out to him and said, like, no, don't kill him. And he said, Pancho Villa said, no. He said he doesn't have money. I'm going to believe him. Burn him. Wow. Yeah. And they burned him. They killed him. Interesting. For and then the little kid, the son, ran and like they were going to kill his dad. So he was like, no, don't kill him. And then Pancho Villa, from what they say, he said, burn him too. Little kid, kill him. But one of the soldiers stepped up and he said, you can't do that. He's a minor. And he said, that's fine. And they didn't kill him. And later, part of that wealth ended up on my grandma's side of the family. One of the nieces of that guy that died accumulated a lot of it. Eventually part of my family inherited it, and the people that inherited it that legally were supposed to take it didn't get it. They just split amongst themselves when that old lady, the niece, died. But that's what I'm saying, is that I'm very connected to it because I like history, and I've been going into my family's history, and my grandfather would talk to his grandfather. Mm-hmm. So I have these stories. Mm-hmm. And I look like the things that I've been able to check on, that we have documents and stuff that I could see how real or how accurate it is. It leaves it to it being perhaps real. Wow. So anyway, that's Pancho Villa. For now, though, lots of people see him as until the 60s, or I'm not sure on the date, he was even vilified still. Mm-hmm. But then something happened in the Mexican government where they turned him into a hero. He was a criminal all this time. Then out of nowhere, they're like, okay, he's a hero now. We're going to do this monument for him and this and this and that. But now they see him as, I don't know, people get tattoos and stuff.
With Pancho Villa?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't know if it's of a fight, of a revolution, as a symbol of a revolution. Uh-huh. You know, you have lots of people that have like Che Guevara, or like other types of tattoos of people who started revolutions. Yeah, so it's just that. But he was brutal. There's no doubt about that. And he was at one point just a criminal. Uh-huh. But they gave him political aspirations, and he did. But he also had a good vision for the country to a certain extent. He built schools. He didn't want to be president. He said he was president for a very little bit of time. During that time, he sent my great-great-grandfather money, and he knew that that money was going to devalue because the climate was volatile, and my grandfather didn't want it. He didn't care. You know, he was a simple guy. So yeah, that's the story. I'm pretty sure it took more than 10 minutes, but
no, I'm very interested in it. And I don't think Aaron's really heard too much about Pancho Villa. Have you?
No, I haven't. No.
But the U.S. wanted him, and you know what's funny is that he wasn't against the U.S. He liked the United States. He liked that the United States, the economy it had, he liked the ideals. But United States, the ones who sold him the gunpowder, they sold him bad gunpowder, and he lost a lot of men.
Oh.
And he came over here. That's when he came to Columbus, and he did a massacre, even though they killed more of his guys. I mean, he went to a military base. They had machine guns back then, you know? But before that, he didn't have anything against the U.S. but the U.S. wanted him dead.
Yeah, I think it's funny to like hear about people like that because I'm just sitting on my couch eating a bag of chips, and at my age, someone else is like taking over some government or something. Yeah. It's kind of funny to see the differences between what people have done in the past as to now. Everything's a lot more passive.
Yeah, in this area, I mean, with Mexico though, you see now there's just a different type of war. Yeah. I don't know if it's ever been really peaceful,
But that's what I'm saying is before, like, it seemed like we were talking about things were a little bit above board, and that's why people got so upset about it. So now things are below the surface.
Yeah.
And not so much apparent.
Exactly. I just think it's sad that so many people died. My grandma's, on the other side, my grandma's grandfather died. He was older. He wasn't a young man. He already had his family, and they were coming from battle one day. They had won, but they were ambushed on the way back to their little town. And he didn't make it. He didn't come back. He didn't make it. He didn't come back.
Oh.
So my grandma tells me that some stories. So yeah, I just think it's sad that like so many people died, and like it just shows you like there's these revolutions, but only so much can be accomplished every time. Yeah. And like it seems like the things that are done are pulled back. You know, the next government doesn't see it as important because all those people that saw those deaths are gone. Yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah, so that's what it is.
Interesting.
There's I think at least one statue of him here.
Oh, really?
Yes. They wanted it removed. Yeah.
He killed my auntie.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, very.
Now let's not bicker and argue about who killed who.
You are horrible.
It's a long time, you know, but.
Well, I mean, it is an interesting story, interesting history, and it's interesting to hear from you how his story ties in with your family story. So.
Yeah, a lot of people say that they worked with him and they know him and like, and he probably did. But you know what's so funny about just a random fact about him? Because they say he was a rapist and this and that. Apparently, though, he wasn't. There was another guy with his name that was just a criminal with no political aspirations. But this guy, he had several families, but he would marry each of the women. So he had like 12 or 13 wives, but he would marry them. It's kind of funny.
There you
go. Wow.
And one of his main wife spoke English and lived in El Paso once everything was over.
It's like, oh.
And she contacted my great great grandfather and said, "Hey, come live with me, come live with us, our family." But he was like, "Nah, I'm good."
Wow. No, that was a good history lesson.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that. That was good. Well done.
Coming up next on the BBC.
Right. So now.
All right.
We talked about Pancho Villa. Let's talk a little bit more about you.
Oh, okay. Your crazy stories.
I have crazy
What governments have you overthrown, Danny?
How many people have you killed?
Like, I wrote a bad review on Yelp one time. That was pretty crazy.
He was what?
I said I wrote a bad review on Yelp one time. That was pretty crazy.
Oh, that's about as bad as it.
For what?
Huh?
For what?
What did I write? It was a joke. I mean, I have written a bad review. It was at McDonald's.
Oh.
Go figure.
Yeah. I was just like bored.
So you just wrote it. You made up a bad
No,
review.
it actually was a pretty bad experience.
What happened?
Well, I don't want to talk about
I
that.
do. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
What happened? Tell us about this bad McDonald's experience.
It
I don't
was
see
a
how anyone.
long, cold day. Well, that was my throat. Sorry. I should probably stop drinking coffee while I'm doing it. Anyways, I was working a very long day, and it was cold, and the day was very long. Did I mention that it was cold?
I could definitely feel that it was long.
And I was working for one company cleaning windows. And so I was working with another kid who I was I was taking the lead on the job. He was helping out. So I was like, hey, we should go get some lunch before we go to the next job. So I go to the McDonald's on
I don't care if you say where it's at.
No way.
Anyways, I walked in and I was like, I don't even know what happened. It was something about like how they have those new terminals where you have to put the order in.
Oh, so this was recent.
This was last year. This was last year.
This was a long time ago. He's like, oh, these new terminals with Amazon Alexa built in.
Yeah, it's like, would you like to use your previous order? And like, how long do you go? Like, about 5 years. Oh,
Whoa.
We just track your credit card information.
Wow.
It says you don't like pickles. I'm like, well, actually, I like pickles now.
Okay.
Anyways.
So, Danny, do you have any stories? Well,
I got a McDonald's story too.
Okay.
One time we were in a hurry, and Carl and I said, "You know what? Let's just get a hot and spicy from McDonald's." Okay, we get it. She's eating it on the way. She opens it. There's no patty, just 2 buns and lettuce.
Oh, how disappointing!
And there was no way we could go back.
Why?
Because we were in a hurry. And we had to just.
Where were you going?
I think we were going to.
I'm sure it could have waited.
No,
to go back.
Wow.
It was just.
I want my $1 back.
No, I would have went. I would have.
We went back later, and they didn't even like question it. Like,
Yeah, because
had
they
it
know.
happened
They
before.
know. No
Yeah.
one's like, oh, I don't believe you. They're like, yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Kevin got hungry and ate your patty while he was making it.
Yeah.
Crazy
This wouldn't be
stories.
the first time we forgot the meat.
Crazy stories. I'm trying to think right now. You know, which ones I could say on air.
Like I said before,
you able to talk about the one
don't worry about it. If it's Antonio will edit it out.
I'm not going to do the extra legwork
No.
He will edit
to piece
anything
together some
out
fabricated story. We're just going to take sound bites of you saying different things.
and to create a story.
No.
Are you able to talk about the guy that tried stealing your car?
Wow. Yes, that's a great one. I'm glad you mentioned that one. Okay, that one I could definitely say. So, it was a Sunday, and we had just bought a little piece of land, and we were gonna go work on it, clean it up, and it was in the morning. Carla was gonna go after I. So I was gonna leave first. Then she was gonna leave. So. I was about to leave the house when I saw this guy with a hoodie. I mean, you could tell he was shady. He was just kind of walking in circles around the street, on the street, and I was like, "Well, that doesn't look normal."
Especially the street you live on.
Yeah, especially the street. I live on a dirt road, like in the middle of nowhere. Nobody should be walking there. First of all, and I was like, "That's weird. That's really weird." So, I decided to stay. And I'm like, I tell Carla, you know what? I'm gonna wait for you. And I'm just waiting. I'm outside, and this guy starts approaching our property, and he walks into the yard. Okay, I'm expecting him to greet me at least, or approach me, but he ignores me, and he walks straight to my car. And I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm like, what are you doing? He's all like, hi. I'm like, what are you, or I think I just said like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I came for the car. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I'm going to take the car. And I walk up to him, and I'm like, okay, this guy's on drugs or out of it. And he's like, do you have the keys? Is it open? And I'm like, go ahead, look at it. I knew it was closed and it was locked. And he goes, he peeks into it, and he tries opening it, and he looks again inside. You know, he has both of his hands, you know, trying to cover the light too for him to see clearly inside the car. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, just looking at him there, and he asks me again. Do you have the keys? And at this time, I'm like, I'm just gonna go along with it. You know, I'm gonna make up a story. And I said, oh, you know what? I don't have the keys. this isn't my car. This is my friend's car, or no, this is my relative's car, and that's why I don't have the keys.
But it was really your car.
Yes, it was my car. It's my first car.
Just making sure that's
It was
clear.
my first car. No.
I'm joking.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. Check this out. No, it gets more interesting. So I'm like, okay, this guy's in my property. All right, this random guy. And then he's all like, then he looks down. And then he looks up. And he looks at me straight in the eye. And he says, I'm that relative. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. You don't look anything like him. And he's, yeah, it's my car, he said. And I'm like, you know what? We could call the cops. We could call the police. And they could tell us whose car it is. And he says, you know what? That would be a great idea.
I'm glad he agreed.
And then then he tells me, I'm just telling you for your sake. You know, I don't want you to get in trouble. At this point, I'm like, wow, is this, like, am I living in an alternate universe where I don't own this car? Where I'm like, he was so determined and so sure that I doubted for like, you know, half a second that maybe I was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's what crazy people do.
and
They
wow,
make you think you crazy.
and
Why are
at
you
this
looking at me?
Well,
and at
just
this
saying.
point,
I'm just saying.
they were
gonna use this
they were in this
opportunity.
house that wasn't theirs, in front of the property, and across the street in this trailer, and this girl comes out yelling at him, just cussing him out. You're gonna get us in trouble. They're gonna call the cops on us. This and that. Let's get out of here. And she was just crazy, going crazy at him. And then he turns around and says, Hey, calm down. I'm having a conversation here. I'm like, yeah, very interesting conversation that we're having. And she just keeps on yelling. And then at this point, he starts yelling back. And then he eventually leaves. But he says, okay, I'll be back. Like, and I thought, this guy's on drugs. He's going to get off the high. He's going to come back to reality and forget about this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This was a Sunday.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Come Tuesday, I was gonna leave. I was gonna leave the house around 11. I'm getting ready to leave. I open the door, and I hear the neighbor's dog barking. And I open the door, and as soon as I open the door, literally inches away from the door, he's standing there, just staring off into space. That same guy on Tuesday.
So you didn't look through. You don't have like a peephole or something so you can.
Nobody
look outside.
knocked. I just happened to open the door. Is that creepy or what?
I still would have looked out first. Because when there's dogs barking,
It was just what, like, it just.
we just react differently. That's all. Because no, I'm serious. Because on Sunday, the police would have been called while he was, when he walked into the yard.
We did call it. We reported it, but he left. So it was, and I told Carla. I told her in Portuguese actually. Hey, call the police.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's here, and anyway,
What language are you speaking to the guy in?
it was Spanish and English.
Okay.
And
But anyway, go ahead. Tuesday.
so
Continue the story. I didn't
he's
mean to cut
just
you off.
standing right there, like in my face. I open the door. He's in my face, and I get, obviously I'm a little spooked, thrown off, but I'm actually angry as well. And I told him, I was like, I told you. He said, I came for the car, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't have time, and I slammed the door shut. I slammed the door. I called the cops, and I think I called Carla as well, just to tell her. I don't know where she was at. She wasn't there. And
Plot twist, it really was the relative.
no, he's not related. He was also related to Pancho Villa.
He was also related to Pancho Villa, and he actually did own the car legally.
No, not even
He
close.
was the original owner.
He was claiming it was his sister's car later, in that, it was
Wait,
crazy.
So did the police come?
Wait,
Oh, sorry.
When I was closing the door on him in that millisecond, I saw that the car door was already open.
Oh.
I had locked it. Oh. He already had a head start. While I had showered, I was getting ready. I didn't suspect it. I hadn't seen him there, so, and I shut the door. Like I said, I called the police, and the police told me. I mean, the dispatcher just said, "You know what? Don't go out there. Like, just wait till the police come." But they were far away.
They didn't tell you that, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, they
said
told you.
They're still a little bit away. They're a little ways. Just stay inside.
Like how many minutes?
And it took them that time. Every other time they've been very quick. That time it took them a while. Probably he had enough time to disassemble my steering wheel, all the accessories around it.
Oh, wow.
I recorded him. It was sad, but I was recording my car. I just saw parts flying out, and he was like with an ice pick trying to.
Wow.
He didn't know though, but my car has a little chip, Locktronics chip. They used to use them as security back then. The car doesn't start with it on. That little chip is always in the car, but he didn't know that. So even if you turn the ignition, if you have the key, it doesn't turn on. So he was just destroying my steering wheel around it, and I was recording it, and it was sad because I really wanted to get out there, and I wasn't afraid of him, but he was on drugs most probably. And people on drugs are dangerous. Mm-hmm. You could shoot them, nothing happens. Like they'll continue. Mm-hmm. They're like superhuman basically while they're on drugs. So, yeah.
Aaron's like, yep, I'm Superman right now.
So, I just saw him destroy my car.
Wow.
Cops arrive. Plot twist. Cops arrive. They catch him inside the car. And they already know what's going on. I had reported him before, right? So the cops arrive, and when the cops get there, they draw their guns on him right away. And this guy pretends he has a gun. He could have died right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, he went like this, like if he was gonna get something from the back of his, his waist area. Mm-hmm. And the cops, fortunately, weren't nervous that day because they would have terminated him there. Mm-hmm. And that gives them enough time for the cops to be like kind of surprised, and then he runs to the back, and there's a flimsy fence in the back, and you have to basically just jump and toss yourself over, and there's a bunch of stuff, cacti and other sharp things.
Oh, so you got to be willing to just sacrifice.
The officers ran, but they have more gear, so that fence doesn't support them. But that guy was just some scrawny guy. He literally could just kind of roll over it, and he runs to the desert, and they catch him on the other side. They're looking at him. They know where he's at. They're seeing him from far, and they're trying to get him. He throws away his sweater as to appear differently. So that way they didn't, he was, he tries to be
clever.
He tries to become,
so they don't recognize you.
He tries to become some guy just walking on the street, right? And he ends up on a main road. They try to get him, and he resists, and they tase him.
Oh man!
They tase him. They get him. They lock him up, and he gets out though, soon. I mean, he could be charged for it was larceny basically, right? What is it?
Attempted theft.
Attempted theft. No, but he was
damage to property.
And damage to property. It was several counts. No, I think the counts.
You know what this is called.
Yeah, I'm actually very.
Check your record.
Check my record.
Just look at your record.
Online. Yeah. Antonio's criminal record just says guilty of being awesome.
Unlikely. Wrong.
Unlikely. Wrong, Antonio.
Wrong. Oh, sorry. That's the one I get the mail from.
No,
Dude,
but
that's crazy.
But they end up not. I didn't file the paperwork on time, and they didn't make him pay restitution. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he did damage to my car. Now my car just turns on with anything. You could literally just stick your finger in it, and it turn right on. He destroyed it. He destroyed it.
It's
It's the
white one?
Honda.
Oh,
I have it. It's an
old
older car.
one.
You still have it?
I still have it.
Oh, good to know.
Did he? Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. Where do you keep it at? Right.
It has no battery right now.
We'll
Sorry,
do the
guys.
next
We
week's
perform Grand
podcast.
Theft Auto.
Right.
Next
We'll,
time.
Just
we'll
boots
record
down
the
the street.
podcast in the Honda as we're driving
There
it down the
you
street.
go.
Wow. you could hear it. You know,
Hey,
because
Aaron, you want to stop at McDonald's?
No.
I feel
Let's
like
go to
complaining
Wendy's
again.
and get some chili.
Finger food.
Finger food for Wendy's.
yeah, but that was crazy. That was craziness, and the officer that was taking the report, he said, "I don't know how you didn't just go out there and just beat him up
Mm-hmm.
bad. I would have." He said, "You know, he said you did the right thing, but it was hard because I mean it's an old car, but it's my car, it's my property. And this guy just came and he started just taking it apart in front of me.
My biggest thing is when he gets out. Wait, did he?
He's out.
Oh, he's out. So have you ever seen
He
him
can't
again?
go back. Part of the thing that the judge told him was I forgot when somebody's released, the terms of release, something like that. He can't visit the area again.
Wow.
So he can't even live there anymore.
No, but no, he didn't live there.
Oh,
He was squatting the property in front.
oh, got you. Okay.
So, I was gonna go to I knew the property owner, and it's sad, but I think it's her son, not the owner. I know a relative, of the owner, and it was her son, I believe. And I was gonna tell her, hey, because they did damage to other neighbors as well. One neighbor shot at them. He was coming.
And he still kept doing it.
Oh, he was a good impersonator. Let me tell you another story. I think it was before this happened. He went to my neighbor's house, and his next door neighbor arrived, and he said, "Hey, what are you doing there? You know, who are you?" Because he knows his neighbor. He has a good relationship with him. He's all like, "Oh, I live here." He's like, "No, you don't. So and so lives there." He's all, "That's me."
Wow.
And so the guy had come back he had just come back from hunting, so he had his rifle in the truck.
Oh.
He comes out and he doesn't shoot at them; he shoots at the ground, and the cops just come like that quickly. They are the only ones that have caused disturbances there. Once before them and after them, it's been pretty calm, and they're gone, fortunately. So it was just they didn't live there; they were living illegally there. We could say they were invading private property. So they took away that mobile home. They took it. Now it's just a piece of land.
Wow.
But yeah,
That is one crazy story.
I mean,
Agreed.
I could have been in jail, if I would have done something to him. Who knows, the way things are.
Oh no, you would have been fine.
No.
You would have been fine.
We can do the podcast from prison.
Right. Exactly.
You would have been fine.
We
'cause
would
you
have
be
visited.
doing this podcast
We
from
would've
prison.
visited.
You're like, hey guys, I didn't do anything. That's all I'm gonna say. oh, thanks, Danny. Well, anyways,
More details, please.
yeah,
This is good entertainment.
nice
Not for you, but for us.
for us. Yes.
Oh, man.
So and now we're gonna talk about because last week we had Damien on
Okay.
the podcast and he talked about being a mariachi and all that fun stuff. And you, sir, are also a mariachi.
Yeah,
You can
what
give
a-
us a quick, clear history of the Guitarrón.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the Guitarrón and the Vihuela. The Vihuela is we could say it's the small guitar. It's mostly a rhythm instrument. It's not really used to play melodies, although some very skilled players can play chords and use that as melodies. But those instruments, because the modern mariachi has a trumpet, has a violin, or several of those. But it has a guitar and two other instruments that are native to mariachi. And when I say that, it's because those instruments were born in Mexico, we could say. The Spaniards had their instruments, and they came and they would play religious music most of the time. Are you gonna laugh?
Huh? No, I'm just. I
have
asked
some
about the
faith.
Guitarrón and somehow we ended up in Spain.
No. I need to bring that. I need to start from where it comes from.
Oh, okay.
So the Spanish had their instruments, the Indians. Long story short, the Indians saw those instruments, and they're
made
like,
their own.
let's adapt them to what we want them to sound like. And then they came up with the vihuela, and we could say it's big brother, the guitarrón, and it's basically the bass. It's the bass. It's very full. The sound, I love it. I like the instrument. I would say it's almost like the heart of the mariachi, because you could have like an orchestra could have a trumpet and a violin, and a guitar, but those two instruments, the vihuela and the guitarrón, give it the flavor.
Yeah,
give it the rhythm. Give it the fullness of sound. And I think that obviously it's a group. You need all of the instruments, but I think what gives it the flavor and the different feel are those instruments. Those two.
That's what I thought was interesting, because whenever I really can't play it, and I generally like to try new instruments, but this one was just pressing down was very difficult. Not having frets really threw me off, because I have not played an instrument where I didn't know exactly where to push down for the notes. So I just thought it was really interesting that, and Danny just by chance he just happened to have it in his car.
I can't go anywhere without it ever since I started playing it.
So can we get a quick sample then?
Yeah, I could play something. Let me get it.
All right.
Okay,
And now we're back with Daniel Rojo on the Guitarrón.
Let me see if this is
Thank you.
the right set. I think it's
Oh man, it's gonna be hard with the headphones.
That's fine. Let's hopefully they don't get too much in the way. All right. Okay, there it is. So I'm gonna take it off because
Yeah, just play it.
We'll
We'll
tell you how you sound.
okay, sounds good.
But the bass, I mean, remember when we were recording, it would pick up. That's like we could really hear over
I
the
hope it
recordings.
doesn't blow up. So I'm gonna.
Boom. Watch this, Danny.
I really like Relámpago, that song. So I'll play what we. Let's see if I can remember.
Do you want me to do it on the guitar?
If you want to, we could play it on the guitar.
We'll play a short sample of it.
Yeah. Let me try to play it first without it, and then we can do it with it. Just so let's see. We're getting
Aaron's log reach.
Maybe stand back just a little smidgen.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
okay.
Oh, sorry. Oh man, sorry, I screwed it up.
No, that's fine. No, I
haven't played it in a long time either.
That was nice. I like it. Some songs have some mariachi songs involve the guitarrón a bit more, but as in they do more than just the kind of the contrabass. But yeah, I really enjoy playing it.
Interesting.
I really enjoy playing it. It's different. For me, it was very hard to adjust to the mentality of not always playing in unison with or on the same beat.
Yeah, which is why it's hard to do Relámpago, because I'm playing one sway.
Yeah, and there's a little part
breaks
that
are
I played, I think, incorrectly, because I think I was supposed to play right before you play. It's like dun 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 dun. It's like it's kind of like you're the reaction to me playing. There's a lot of call and response in mariachi with the instruments. So it's definitely something different. That's the hardest part, because I've played violin, I've played guitar, and you're supposed to play with everybody else to a certain extent. You're not supposed to be off. It's not that you're off. It's just you're filling in.
Interesting. So before we go, we wanted you to play a song on guitar. Last week, Damien played.
Ooh, I don't know if I could pull anything off, but I could try.
Yeah, man. Come on. Oh, I forgot to mention. Daniel Rojo is an established singer-songwriter from Tucson, Arizona, who writes parodies of his friends' lives.
That is true. I like to write what we call in Spanish corridos, but they're roasts. I roast people. That's what I use it for. Some of them are pretty cool. I like to get other guitars to play them because the style that they're usually played in, I'm not that good at least not yet. But it's cool when you write something and you hear somebody else play it. That's like, I don't know, it's a good feeling. And when somebody else is at least willing to do it, that to me that matters a lot. So let me see if I could play something on the guitar. I'll probably just do some little melody or something.
Okay.
Let's see.
Or you can play like, is there a song you like to sing, play?
Lately, I've kind of stuck to the guitarrón lately, so
Slacking, man, you're slacking.
I'm slacking on the guitar. I have to continue the guitarrón skills. I go back and forth, but let's see what I could come up with.
Can you put your mic down there for his
Let's,
It'll pick it up. Yeah, I guess.
you think it'll pick it up? All right, let's see. Let me see what I could come up with.
In any language you want.
All right, I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm gonna sing.
We'll narrate it then.
All right, there.
To be the background music to your story.
It's a song that's the intro to a song that I wrote for my wife when we were dating, and
Aww.
and I don't know. I like the melody as well.
Yeah.
And I'll sing a little part of it. Let's see. Ask you if you'd sing a song. I'm sorry if I kept you long, 'cause I love to hear your voice. My heart gives me no other choice. La 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 la. From your lips the perfect no, my heart and soul begin to flow. Oh, I wish you were here at my side. My heart and arms are open wide. La 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 la. My heart and arms are open wide. And the inside of her ring actually has some of the lyrics.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so
Wow.
back I think I was a bit more romantic.
Years ago. Huh?
Years ago.
No, I mean, you still try.
Sorry.
Oh man, dude, you just
I
broke
am
it.
so
No,
sorry.
No, Aaron, do not worry.
Aaron
It's
has a
fine.
knack for destroying personal
okay.
objects.
I do.
No, it's
especially
okay.
if it doesn't belong to me.
It's okay. Let me just hold it, but it's
Our
okay.
game.
Like,
I'm
don't touch it
sorry.
ever again, but it's okay.
It's okay. Don't even look at it.
I'm really sorry.
Don't feel bad. Go
Well,
ahead.
Danny, thank you for visiting us this week. We talk about a lot, and we appreciate it.
No, thank you for
Thank
listening
you for sharing
to me.
your talents with us, too.
Oh, well, no, I'm honored to be invited, so I appreciate it.
Cool. We charge $50 now. So.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine. Well, I'm glad I entered before those
Before the
$50.
$50.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything if I'm going to be charged. Yeah, so.
Okay.
No, it was nice. It was nice.
Well, thank you for.
We'll have to do it again.
Yeah. man.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
We'll have you back. Season 2.
Season
Sounds
2,
good.
where Danny's car actually gets stolen.
All right.
Well, thank you for listening to this week's episode of 2 Crazy Scoops Podcast with your host, Antino and AO. Next week, tune in as we talk to who's our guest?
Tyson
Torres. I have no idea what we're going to talk to him about because Aaron is the one coming up with the script for this one.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out as we go. Yeah. Have a great week.